now, you're tuned into RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Hi, everybody. You're listening to your RBLR Rays podcast. I am Ben. We do this every week. You should know by now. With me is Zach. How's it going, Zach?
What's going on, brother?
Not much. Just ready to dive into this Game 1 recap and then talk about the rest of the series. Hopefully it's going to be a little bit longer than just 2 games. And with us today, we have a guest. He runs the Rays Farm Report Twitter. Always on the minor league stuff, we have Jacob Mccauley. How's it going, Jacob?
Doing great. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate this, coming on to talk Rays with baseball with us, and then, some minor league stuff near the end here after we do some playoff recap and all that.
Me on.
Yeah, anytime. So, guys, I want to hear what your thoughts are on this Game 1 situation yesterday. The Rays dropped the first one in Cleveland, 2-1, behind a fantastic outing from Shane McClanahan. I think Clevenger was pretty good at the end there too, but the other Shane Bieber, was just a little bit better. I mean, they made the same amount of mistakes yesterday. They each made one mistake. McClanahan's just happened to come with a runner on after a weak ground ball single, so it ended up being the difference. But I don't know. What do you think about that game yesterday, Zach?
Yeah, so I was sitting at work and I was like, a 12 o'clock game. I can watch this in my truck at work because my job is very simple. And I think it just made me more irritated at work than I've ever been in my life. It was
a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, our offense is just like, I feel like we have to wake up at some point, and I think having Lowe out has been so detrimental to this team's offense.
Yeah, definitely. It really hurts not having that consistent power threat in the lineup. So, yeah, Jacob, what about you?
Yeah, I thought Shane Bieber was just phenomenal. He mixed his cutter and his slider very, very well and kept us off balance the whole game. We were out in front a lot of the cutter and the slider. And I thought McClanahan obviously was phenomenal. And it kind of sucked not getting that home run from Jose Siri, that barrel that in the third inning or whatever.
Yeah.
That hurt. But yeah, I thought Bieber was just electric yesterday.
Yeah, he really was.
He looked so good, and then for him to just shut down the top 3 in our lineup was like, those are the 3 guys that we need to produce, and he shut them down. They all went hitless, if I'm not mistaken, last night.
Yeah,
they
all went 0 for 12 with 6 strikeouts yesterday.
Yeah, that is 3 of our best hitters, most consistent hitters, I will say, and Shane Bieber shut them down. So
yeah, I don't really see that happening again, hopefully, but we'll see.
I mean, they're throwing out McKenzie today, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he's pretty much a 3 starter on most teams, I'd say. I mean, he's good and he's been good lately, but he's not super overpowering or anything. He plays against the White Sox, the Tigers, the Royals, the Twins too, pretty frequently. So it's I'm not going to put too much stock into that. He's not as proven as Bieber. But yesterday I wrote it down on a sticky note at work, and I don't have it with me, so I don't have the exact number. But Jose Siri through 7 innings yesterday had the same total batted ball distance as the entire Guardians lineup. So in 3 plate appearances for him, he had 900 something feet of distance on his batted balls, and Cleveland had a couple feet less than him. So Cleveland's offense was terrible. They were honestly as bad as the Rays yesterday. And but that's what Cleveland's offense does. They get their 4, 5, 6 ground ball singles in a game, and then pray for a home run from Naylor or Ramirez, and they ended up getting one from Ramirez. But that's their offense at a normal game, is they put up 2 runs and they didn't look great. The Rays didn't have a good game, so if they just have a normal game, I think they would probably win this one today. But the postseason is 90% luck, and we saw that last year with Kike Hernandez turning into Barry Bonds for 4 games. So we really just don't know what's going to happen, but that's what makes it so exciting, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because this is a series of the 28th and 29th fewest home run hitting teams, and you see these teams going at it, and they said something in the game last night. Yesterday, the announcers did, and they said ball go far, team go far, and I thought
Makes
that was
sense.
I thought that was the funniest thing in the world because both of these teams are not known for hitting home runs. So after this series, whoever wins this series, I think I'm excited to see what they can do afterwards.
Yeah, definitely. So, any other final thoughts here on game one before we get into some questions from our listeners?
No, I think that's about it. Just
Yeah, I'm all
seems
good.
awesome.
All right. So, our first listener question is from Reddit. User Doritos22839 asked, "How do we think Cash is going to manage the pitching today?" So, Zach, I'll let you take that first.
First off, great name. Um, I think we're going to see probably the longest outing of Glasnow's season, however short that season was. But I do think we're going to see the longest outing for him. But I think we're going to see a lot of the bullpen in this game because he is going to be kind of under the microscope of Snyder and Cash.
Yeah, Jacob, what about you?
Yeah, I think they're just going to play it at bat by at bat. Just depends on how he's throwing and the quality of contact he's giving up. And they're definitely going to be very aggressive with their bullpen with a winner go home scenario. So
Yeah, definitely. I think aggression is a great word for this because they have to be. Like, if you don't win today, there is no tomorrow. So, I mean, McClanahan didn't really run into any trouble. Like, so it's not like they pulled him too early, too late, whatever. Like, it was just ground ball single, home run. So hopefully Glasnow doesn't see the same fate. But I mean, his stuff is there. Like, he just has to, repeat his mechanics consistently. And I could realistically see him going like at least 4 innings today, as long as the game flow matches up. So we'll see.
That's
But
exactly where I was at with it. At least 4 innings is my thought.
yeah. Okay, so a follow-up though from Doritos guy here is who do you think our best hitters against Mackenzie will be today? So I'll let Jacob take this one first. We'll mix up the order.
I think it'll be. I think Ji-Man Choi is going to have a pretty good game today.
Ooh.
Love it. Hell
I
yeah.
just like the way he's swinging the bat and seeing the ball. I think he'll have a definite impact on this game.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Zach, what about you?
Well, I was hoping anyway, that we started Paredes at first instead of Choi. So I was gonna say something like that, but I also think that the top three of our lineup have to do something. So I'm gonna go with Arozarena is gonna be our best hitter today.
Awesome. I mean, I hope both of them like compete to be the best hitters today. Maybe they can each hit like a couple home runs. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be able to watch this game. I was like half following along yesterday at work with like the AC in my classroom was out. So I like had the game on in my like no AC classroom and then was like popping back and forth between like the room I was in. So like I'd go in there, get sweaty for a couple minutes, come back out, teach kids some stuff about irony or whatever. So hopefully we can watch the game today. I'm excited about that. And yeah. Next question here, let me pull that up, is from Twitter from, hold on, I got to make sure I get this right. Brian Hanna 23. He asked, after Glasnow, who's going to give maybe 2 to 3 innings? So I guess like who do you think is going to follow Glasnow? So Zach, we'll start with you.
Oh, have they announced the Game 3 starter yet?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I think that if Glasnow gets 3 innings, we could see a Kluber outing for a couple of innings, because I think that if we have a Game 3, Rasmussen's going to be starting. So I think that with how important this game is, we could see kind of a one of our starters come in and throw a longer relief inning or a longer relief appearance.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Jacob, what about you?
I think it'll be one of Rass, Springs, or Klubs for sure. I know all three are in the bullpen, so it'll just be, I think, one of those three. I think Springs would probably be my choice to come out of the pen to follow Glasnow.
Yeah, I think Springs would be a nice choice. I like the contrast in styles between him and Glasnow, but then like Rasmussen and Glasnow also have like totally different styles. So either one is like a good choice. I just want to see Springs. He's so fun to watch. He's really cool. Um,
Yeah, I
so
love Springs.
I for some reason Springs completely slipped my mind. Can I change my answer to I think we see Springs tonight?
I mean, we'll probably it'll be all hands on deck. Like we might get like, maybe even just two from Glass now and then one inning from like, seven different guys or however
Yeah.
long the game goes on.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a one-run game, I feel like. So
Mhm.
they're going to use everybody possible and there still is like the three batter minimum, but as soon as those guys hit their minimums, I think, unless they're cruising, they're probably going to get pulled because you don't want anybody to get comfortable against any of the arms. So
Mhm.
it's going to be exciting though, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna pick. We're gonna find out tonight who our starter tomorrow is if we're playing tomorrow, because whoever our starter is, I think, is probably the only pitcher that we could not see tonight. Like,
That's
I
true.
could literally see us using everyone we've got just to get to tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, they do have some guys on the taxi squad. Like I think Yanni is on the taxi squad. So maybe they, pull him and have him pitch for like a 2 inning start tomorrow if needed. So
Mhm.
they have the arms. They literally just have to score like 3 runs today. Like if you can score like 3, maybe 4 runs, you're probably going to win that game, especially with Glass now and all the other great pitching they're going to throw out there.
Yeah,
I
just
agree with that.
walk Ramirez every single time.
All right. So one last question here from Twitter. We do have one more, but I'm gonna throw that in at like the end when we do our other stuff because it'll make more sense there. But one more from Twitter is from at NCF Sports Fan. What's the ceiling for the Rays offense today? Like what do we see them like if they're having a good game? What are they doing? I guess what are they producing? What are they putting up? Zach, you can take this one first.
Oh gosh, the ceiling. I mean, we've seen this team put up 10 runs easily.
Yeah.
But I mean, realistically, I think a 4 or 5 run game with 1 or 2 home runs from someone unexpected is kind of what we've been lately. So I'm hoping for another Siri bomb, maybe a Yandy bomb, and the rest I think are going to be basically hit and run scenarios because we're one of the better stealing teams in the league. So I mean that's what I think our ceiling is, probably a 4 or 5 run game.
I would take that, especially
Yeah.
with this pitching. That'd be amazing. So, yeah, Jacob, what about you?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think 4 to 6 runs in that range is definitely going to be the ceiling and what we need to definitely strive for if we want to win this ball game, I think.
Okay, well, if you're both saying 4 to 6, I'm gonna say 7. I want one insurance run, please. But no, I think like they literally just have if they do a little bit better than what they did yesterday, they're probably going to win. I don't really see where the offense is going to come from Cleveland other than like ground ball singles, but like that works against the Royals, that works against the White Sox, it works against Detroit. Like when you're playing teams with bad pitching, you can ground ball single them to death as much as you want. But the Rays don't have bad pitching, so I'm not as worried as I was before about getting BABIP because the Cleveland's offense just isn't that good. Like it's just singles. Like and that's cool and all and like the Rays could do that if they wanted to, but they're definitely swinging for more power. Like we see the strikeouts, we see them like really trying to drive the ball. I'd rather do that because I like the potential to score more than the infield hits, the ground balls, the bloop hits. Like I mean, obviously beggars can't be choosers here because we're not getting anything from them, but I like what they're doing, and I like that they have basically the same lineup as yesterday, which kind of leads into our preview here for Game 2. So the Rays are rolling out pretty much the same lineup, just flip Paredes for Walls at second base. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that lineup?
I'll let you go first, Jacob.
I love Isak a ton. I just love the plate discipline and the contact skills, and even defensively, he's been pretty good this year. And I really like this lineup. It just a bunch of different skill sets, good defense, just everything I'd want in a lineup. To be honest, what about you, Zach?
Yeah, no, I agree. I am a Walls fan, but yesterday, just defensively, it looked like he was rushing. Like, it was almost like the playoffs were too big of a scene for him, which is terrifying. But I do think that Paredes is maybe not as good defensively regularly, but I think offensively he gives us so much more potential. So I love the lineup, and I think that Paredes being in it is a little bit scarier than like for Cleveland is a little bit scarier than having Walls in there.
Yeah, and I think like offensively, Paredes and Walls kind of do this. They have the same approach at the plate. Like they love to see a ton of pitches. They're both in the 90th percentile in pitches per plate appearance. But the difference between Paredes and Walls, they actually have similar on base ability because Walls does get a ton of walks and Paredes will just look to hit fly balls every time. But the power is so different. Like Walls is in, I think, I don't have my spreadsheet up exactly right now, but Walls is in like the 30th percentile in extra base hits per plate appearance, but Paredes is in the 84th percentile, and that's the second best on the team right now behind Randy. So you just add a massive power threat to the, what is he batting? Sixth in the lineup today? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so he's sixth. So that's like him and Choi back to back are two guys that are going to slow the game down a lot. Choi is in the 96th percentile in pitches per plate appearance. So I like the lineup. I like the heart of the order has like guys that can do damage and, you know, make McKenzie work. So I like sticking with the same lineup too, because, you know, there's no way Yandy, Wander, and Randy all, you know, lay an egg twice in a row. And if they do, then like it is what it is. Like that's, you got to live and die with your best players playing, you know, however they're going to play. So I think the messaging though is going to be the same. Just like go out there, play your game, be yourself. Because if you try to say, oh, you have to do this or you can't do this, you have to worry about this, there's going to be too much going on in their minds, and that's the last thing you want in a must-win playoff game. So just go out there, have fun, maybe buy some RBLR merch like in between innings when they're in the dugouts, all that stuff. So I just got the message. You can plug shirts. Well, here we go. We're plugging them right now. Perfect timing. Yeah, so we'll plug them later. It's fine. But any other thoughts on the lineup for today, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's great. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, like you mentioned, it seems impossible for our top three to have another dud, but we went through this last season with Lowe. You know what I mean? He's one of the best hitters on the team, and he went, 0 for 11 in the playoffs last season?
Yeah.
So I think that we need them to step up. We can't have anyone on the team having, like, multiple bad games. It's just not going to work this season. We're not as good as we were last season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think obviously not having Lowe hurts, but this is a deeper lineup. Like, they have more threats than they did in years past. Like, I don't have the exact numbers for last year, but for this year, the Rays have 6 hitters in the 70th percentile or better in extra base hits per plate appearance percentage. And that is tied for the second most among playoff teams. So like the power is there, the offensive like threat is there. They just have to like snap out of it and get like some kind of positive regression. This stuff can't last forever because it's just like a statistical anomaly. Like it doesn't happen, but the playoffs also don't last forever. Like it could be like a 2-game playoff appearance and then that's it. So they do need to turn it around, but they have literally all the pieces and probably one of the deepest lineups. You know, it's not the best lineup they've ever had, but it's definitely like top to bottom. There are quality players in every single spot in this order. So they have the potential to do it. Like that's totally there, but it's just the question of will they get like, you know, enough lucky bounces or two.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
All right. So anything else on the lineup, previewing the offense here for game 2? Anybody?
No, sir.
All right. So pitching, I know we talked about Glasnow and McKenzie a little bit. I don't know, anybody you're looking forward to seeing out of the bullpen today, whether it's a starter. I know we kind of mentioned like who's going to follow Glasnow, but I don't know, any surprises that we have seen or haven't seen pitching wise or even offensively, if you got anything? Maybe you start with Jacob here.
I have really no surprises at all so far. And today I'm really looking forward to see Pete Fairbanks pitch because It's always a lot of fun watching him pitch. So,
Yeah. And if he's pitching, we're probably like in the lead, so that would be a good sign as well. So can't wait. I don't know, Zach, what about you?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm just excited to hopefully see Fairbanks come in and throw a little bit. I mean, aside from that, I want to see, again, like I said before, walk Ramirez. I don't care how many people we have on base. Walk Ramirez because he's the only legitimate concern in their lineup to me. Naylor can hit home runs too, but I'm not as worried about him as I am Ramirez. So aside from that, just excited to see Fairbanks and really excited to see Glasnow pitch in a playoff game again.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. And, I know some people are concerned about Peralta not being in the lineup, but Bieber and McKenzie do have reverse splits, so it makes sense to not have Peralta starting. I hope he gets into the game at some point. Because he's another guy who is a power threat, and they kind of need that right now. So I know he hasn't hit any home runs as a Ray yet, and that's weird because he usually hits one every 16 or 17 games, and I think he's played, 40-something games with the Rays, and he has 0. So he's bound to hit one eventually. Maybe he gets 2, 3 today. That would be cool. If he hits 3 home runs, there's no way we lose the game, right? Coming off the bench.
I mean, listen, I would have said that I agreed with you, but didn't the Angels hit like 6 home runs in a game or something and still lose?
Yeah,
this
true.
season. So I want to agree with you, but I'm not saying anything because usually what I say ends up being wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope, they can find enough offense in them. And I think they will. They have the potential. So really excited to see what's going to happen in a couple hours. Last thing here, I think it was from the MLB random stats guy on Twitter, like Jeremy Frank or whatever. I think it was him, but yesterday was probably the first time ever that 2 players, both named Jose, hit home runs in the playoffs against two starters, both named Shane. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't think that has ever happened or will ever happen again, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The Rays are a part of history again.
Yeah. So that pretty much covers it for game 2. I know game 3 is kind of a hypothetical. So just off the top of your heads, who would you want to see starting game 3 for the Rays, Zach?
Rasmussen.
Okay, assuming he doesn't pitch today, obviously.
Yeah. Assuming he doesn't pitch today, I want to see Raz because I think that coming into the end of the season, really, I would say all of September, he was our ace per se. He had the best performances in my opinion. Him and Glasnow, even though Glasnow was limited. So I would like to see Raz as our day 3 starter.
All right, nice. Jacob, what about you?
Assuming Springs doesn't pitch today, I'd love to see him start tomorrow for sure. Cleveland isn't as good against left-handed pitching, so would definitely like to see Springs get the start tomorrow.
Right, that makes sense. I think whoever, doesn't pitch today, like between Ras and Springs, or if they both pitch today, like who knows what we'll see. But I think whichever one of them is fresh, then we'll see them go on game 3. So hopefully we get a game 3. Like that's the goal at this point. But you still got to go out and be 1-0 today. So that pretty much covers it for playoff recap, preview, all that good stuff. I guess we can get into like the stuff we were, had Jacob on here for in the first place. So that'd be kind of cool. We'll get into that. So we want to talk about some minor league stuff because obviously you're all over the minor league scene with your Rays Farm Report Twitter, which we'll have you plug, in a little bit so you can reap some of the benefits of being on the coveted RBLR Rays podcast. But we'll start with a question here, and Zach, you chime in when you want to.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, Jacob, what has made the Rays so successful in the minor leagues? Like they keep winning championships organizationally from low A all the way through the majors. They were tied with the Dodgers for having like the best record of any like MLB organization. So yeah, why do they keep winning so much?
They make a lot of these trades. Like, for example, they made that trade for Luke Rayleigh, and he put up an absurd season in AAA, 148 WRC plus to be exact. Like he was just awesome for Durham. Nate Lowe, the Nate Lowe trade, gave us Ovayas Basabe, Alex Ovayas, Heriberto Hernandez, who all put up unbelievable seasons in the minor leagues. And then it's just drafting well. They've drafted Carson Williams, Taj Bradley, Mason Montgomery, Kyle Manzardo. And then, again, their player development is just unbelievable. That's really what's made them so successful. And then I'm just building a great culture, just a great group of players that all want to play with each other and enjoy each other.
Yeah, the culture thing definitely makes sense. Like they value winning at every level just as much as they value like development, and they value development of every single player in the minors. Like there's no, farmhand, or there's no just, filler guys in the lineups. Like they treat every guy like he's the number one overall draft pick, or like the most highly coveted prospect ever. So it's really cool to see that kind of manifest in a way where they have so much success at every single level. But going back to that Nate Lowe trade, who is your favorite, piece that they got in return? Because they did get some pretty nice prospects.
Yeah, my favorite's Alexander Ovayas. I just love his bat. Just phenomenal plate discipline, contact skills, and has a ton of raw power. His exit velocities are phenomenal. He just needs to start lifting the ball, and he started lifting the ball a little more at the end of the season, and his home run numbers eventually creeped up a little bit, which was really cool for him. He's a pretty good fielder too, plays all three outfield positions and first base, but they're all great prospects for sure.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing like almost like every other day that you were posting like a home run video from him. So I definitely think that power is coming along, and he did it in Bowling Green, right?
Yeah, Bowling Green. He had
Yeah,
stops in AA and AAA as well.
Okay, cool. And they don't have the juiced ball in Bowling Green. Like they've got it in Durham for sure. Like it's definitely there, with some of those power numbers. But he's doing that without the juiced ball. Like so that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So kind of we already talked about this postseason a bit, but who are some rookies or younger guys you think are going to make an impact maybe today in the postseason for the Rays, or Game 3 and further down the road if they make it that far?
Yeah,
or when they make it that far. Sorry.
Yeah, I kind of figured Jose Siri was going to have a big postseason. I don't know. He just seems like he just lives for the moment and plays at a really high level when he's fully locked in. And I also really like Isaac Paredes this postseason. I think he's going to have a pretty good game today. At least I'm hoping. And if Javi Guerra ever gets an opportunity, I think Javi Guerra is also going to impress. His fastball is just unbelievable.
Ben is a huge fan of Javi.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's just like an MLB The Show created player with like a maxed out fastball. Like it's so cool. So yeah, I mean, I was surprised that when I found out that Jose Siri is still like technically a rookie, which is cool because he's I want him to be around forever, and hopefully they do keep him around, because if he's a rookie, he's still on his rookie deal. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Two really good young players. So we do have another question here. This one from our producer. So thank you for sending this in from the road. It says, so we got 12 Rays without postseason experience. If we lose, is that the biggest? Wait, what is that?
So if we lose today, is the biggest upside of this wild card experience that we now gave 12 Rays players that didn't have that experience before, is that the biggest upside from this that we can pull from this series?
Oh, okay, I got it. So thank you. I can't read sometimes in the morning.
It's okay. It happens.
I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Like what can we, I mean, we're kind of jumping the gun here, but assuming they don't get it done today, what can we take away from this series, like as a positive? So we'll start with Zach here, I guess, because you were able to read the question. And
yeah, no, I mean, I think that's got to be probably the biggest takeaway. Aside from maybe looking forward to people that we need to bring in next season, whether via free agency or trades, I think the biggest takeaway for the team we have right now would be the experience that we gave to people that haven't had that experience. I think that in the long run, playoff experience, the more experienced teams have a better ability to go further.
And Jacob, what about you?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think postseason experience is extremely valuable, and that's really awesome that all these young guys get some. I think that's great.
Yeah, I know it's like a thing to say that, the more, I mean, obviously, like young players are typically bad. Like Cleveland does have the youngest team in the playoffs, and they do have some good players. But I was reading a couple things, like looking into it, about like how much does experience matter, and there was an article, MLB published one, and then Fangraphs published one last year about how playoff experience is like a myth. And it's like the teams that have players that are experienced in the postseason don't necessarily, it doesn't translate every single year because it's like independent samples, so it's kind of random. I think it's important for like, maybe I think it's more so about like the coaching staff and like a game planning and strategy thing to like experience the playoffs, rather than just like, Taylor Walls having playoff experience this year, just as an example, won't necessarily make him a better player when the Rays make the postseason next year. But the Rays coaching staff and the ability to like put players like him and others in a position to succeed is going to matter. So it's like the experience matters, but it doesn't. It's like more of a technical like game planning kind of thing, if that makes sense. But then there's also like the feel good story of like Shane McClanahan had a bad experience last year, but now he's good this year. So it's like, does the experience help? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, most of where the development comes from is like, working in spring training, working in the off season, refining your stuff during the season. So, he did throw that chair last year, but that's not really like what made him good this year. It's like what's on the inside,
It's the inside that counts. But with that being said, and this is probably a question for Jacob because he's kind of the minor league guru on the show right now. Do you think that the winning at all levels that the Rays do, a lot of our younger guys have come all the way through our system? Do you think that prepares them for a big series like we have every series from this point on?
Yes, I think that definitely matters. I think just being in a bunch of high leverage situations definitely prepares them to play in any situation at the major league level. So yes, it definitely does.
Okay, cool. I like that answer.
Yeah, I know that on the Neil Solon's pod, they also they were talking to one of the minor league coordinator guys. I think it was like a pitching coordinator, and they were talking about like, why is winning, at the minor leagues so important. And he said just the culture it creates and like the work environment. So like, if you're going to work every day and you're losing all the time and you're not having fun, it's a lot harder to like, push yourself and keep going, because that's kind of what the minors is all about. Like statistically, like one, two, maybe three guys from a given minor league team in like any season are going to make it to the big leagues. So like, you got to find a way to keep everybody motivated and happy and excited and like willing to put in the work. So if you're winning, you're going to have guys who are willing to spend, that extra rep on the field or the extra rep in the gym. So I think it helps with the development because they see what winning feels like and they want to keep that going. So it's definitely a mental thing, but it also does prepare them to like win at the big league level because they see what it takes to win, and winning is winning. So you gotta do what it takes to make that happen. And if you see what that looks like in the minors, you can make it happen in the majors as well. So it's really cool that they have that like top to bottom mentality. All right. So a couple more questions here. Who are one or two prospects you think are going to get a shot next year, and what would it look like for them to be successful at the major league level?
Yeah, I think Mason Montgomery is someone that's definitely going to get an opportunity next year as like maybe a bulk bullpen guy or like a spot start guy. I think he just needs to continue to work on his command and his control of his pitches, and his stuff's really good, and he's really deceptive as well. Another one is Kyle Manzardo. I think he's someone.
There it is.
Yeah, that's definitely going to make an impact on next year's roster. He just absolutely rakes, creates a bunch of backspin on his fly balls, plate discipline, contact skills. He really has it all. and he just needs to continue to do what he did this year to be successful, I think.
That would be awesome. I'd love to see both of those guys. I feel like Mead and like Bradley would be like, an easier answer, but I think Manzardo, he could come in like, I mean, I know Mead has like a little bit of defensive versatility and doesn't necessarily have a home, but like Manzardo is a first baseman and he could probably come in right away and hit right away. Like, I don't really think, I mean, obviously there's always going to be like a drop off for rookies. Like we see that this year with like, just because Miles Mastroboni is having like a career season in AAA, it doesn't mean he can get the ball out of the infield in the majors. So there will be some drop off, but Manzardo, just the plate discipline especially, I think is going to translate really well.
Are we still counting Aranda as or Aranda, whatever way you pronounce it? Are we counting him as a prospect still, or?
I think he technically graduated on Pipeline, but
okay.
I know some of the prospect ranking things have him considered a prospect still.
Okay, because personally, like from me, I think that he's going to be one of the guys, maybe not technically a prospect still, but someone that we haven't seen a lot of at the major league level. I think that he's someone that's going to come in next year, and I know we've talked about it on the show, maybe just as a DH, but I think we're going to see some good stuff from him next season.
Yeah, I definitely agree. His bat is really, really good and just kind of has every quality of a hitter you'd want.
Yeah, and if he could just step up his defense, I mean, he could be one of the better players on the team if he had good defense. That's kind of the issue for me.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, even if he just had like okay defense, he'd be able to play like pretty much every day. So the bar is pretty low for the defense. If he can, get some work done in the offseason, that would be awesome. I know he's on the postseason roster right now, but I really would just see him as like a pinch hitter, and then he probably gets like pinch run for, with Brujan or Walls or something if he's able to get on base. So he does have some value as a hitter with his bat, but that's kind of it right now in like a must-win series. Like every mistake is amplified. Like every ground ball is like a bigger deal now. So you really can't afford to like roll him out there. But as a pinch hitter, he's someone that can just wake up and hit. I know he's in a bit of a slump, but you never really know in the postseason. He might just run into one, and that would be cool. All right. So last question here, and then we'll start to wrap it up and tie everything together. But who's a top prospect we likely won't see debut in the majors for a couple years? So we know Bradley is close. We know Mead is close. A couple other guys in Double-A like Manzardo. But who's someone who's like a bit farther away that you think is really special?
Carson Williams, 100%, is special. He won the Rays Defensive Player of the Year this year. He doesn't chase out of the zone a lot. He had a 22.8% chase rate, posted a 125 WRC plus, and just his first full professional season. He was very, very good. Another player I love is JJ Goss. He's a starting pitching prospect. He's really, really, really good. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup, and he started out the year pretty rough, but ever since like June 22nd, he had a 2.5 FIP and like a 2.5 ERA as well. He was really, really good to end the year, and I think he's definitely someone that can come up in probably 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love to see that. And I know Williams is so young, and he was doing so well for such a young player. And the strikeouts are a concern, but I think those will get cleaned up as he progresses into his age 20 season. Probably going to touch. He might even touch Double-A at some point that year. So that's going to be pretty cool.
100%.
Yeah, JJ Goss is one of my go-tos on MLB The Show. So I do love JJ Goss, but I think he nailed it on the head with Carson Williams. I think that he's going to be a stud for the Rays in the future, and it's exciting to see.
Yeah, I mean, another high ceiling shortstop, middle infielder kind of guy. So those kind of guys are super athletic. They can play second. They could probably play third. play corner outfield spots maybe. I know like Greg Jones could play center field probably if they wanted him to. So lots of versatility. So I like that strategy of just getting like the best, the best athlete essentially, like that you can get.
So I have another question for Jacob though. It wasn't on the list. I don't know if he got the list or not, but who do you think is probably the most tradable prospect or young guy that we could realistically see traded maybe this offseason or at some point?
I know he's not a prospect, but I definitely think Vidal Brujan has a chance at being traded. Greg Jones, Austin Shenton, any like fringe Rule 5 40-man guy. Heriberto Hernandez is someone that could get traded. Olevis Basabe. There are definitely a lot of names that could be traded this offseason. Any Rule 5 eligible prospect is definitely going, not named Curtis Mead or Taj Bradley, are going to be definite trade candidates this offseason.
So another guy who's not really a prospect anymore. What about Josh Lowe?
I really like Josh Lowe, but I definitely could obviously see them trade him. I just kind of depends. There's definitely going to be a 40-man crunch, and there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be traded, and Josh could definitely be one of them for sure.
All right. That was the only other question that I had on my end.
No, that was a really good one. I like that because it's going to happen, and it's going to happen sooner than we think. And there's always like a Blake Snell type trade in the offseason, an Austin Meadows type trade. Like there's going to be something the Rays do. Like they'll shave off a couple 40-man guys here and there, but I think maybe we'll see a bigger name maybe traded along with a couple 40-man guys and like a package, get some nice young prospects back. So I mean, the offseason's always exciting, so we'll definitely have Jacob back on again if you want to, obviously.
Definitely.
Can't force you. We're not doing like a hostage situation here.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not like, holding up any signs or anything right now. Like he is here under his own free will, his own power. We didn't pay him to say anything. None of us get paid, so, there's not that much going around. But we could get paid if you would buy an RBLR shirt, so we're going to plug that now. We've got all of our cool Bucks, Rays, Bandits, Rowdies, Lightning, all that good stuff. You can go to shop.rblrsports.com, buy stuff. If you don't want to buy stuff, you could donate, not to us, but to some hurricane relief funds to help out down south from the people that were affected by Hurricane Ian. Pretty crazy stuff in Naples, Fort Myers, if you've seen the videos. Like the storm surge was very much real. So yeah, if you don't want to buy a shirt, you could just help out and be a good person down there. So, but if you do want to buy a shirt, Zach has a promo code this time. I don't have it. I forgot what it was. So Zach, can you give him that promo code for shop.rblrsports.com?
You may have forgotten it, so I will remind you. It is Flappy, FLAPPY. If you put in that discount code, you will get 10% off your entire order. So essentially, you buy 10 shirts, you get the 11th one free.
All right, awesome. So yeah, anyways, Jacob, thank you so much for coming on. You want to plug some stuff, Twitter stuff or whatever?
Yeah, the Twitter is just at Rays Farm Report. Just find us there. I really appreciate you having me on. Really awesome experience.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. This was great. Definitely want to talk more about like 40-man stuff, prospect stuff in the off season, but it was nice to do like a playoff thing, talk about some young guys and what it takes to win in the minor leagues. So real quick before we hop off, I want you guys to tell me what you think the final score is going to be today in a couple hours and who you think is going to win. Zach, go.
Oh God, do you really want to start with me?
Yes.
I think it's going to be 3-2 Cleveland wins.
Oof. Okay, Jacob.
5-2 Rays win. Ji-Man Choi hits a 3-run home run.
Oh wow.
The game open.
God, I hope
I would
so.
love that. Praying for that. I'm thinking a 7-1 win Rays.
Oh my goodness.
This one. It's you can't hold them down for so long. Like they're going to explode eventually. It's So hopefully me or Jacob is right. If Zach is right, that's fine too.
No, it's
I don't
not.
wanna-
It's not. It's not fine.
Yeah, it's
Remember,
not fine.
I did this on purpose. Earlier in the show, I said everything that I predict is usually wrong. So I'm thinking this through in my head.
All right, maybe we can go somewhere in the middle here with Eureka. And he said 6-5, 11 innings. I don't know who the winner is in that scenario, but we're going to assume it's the Rays, right?
Yeah,
They're not,
yeah,
They're
we're-
not going to lose in extras. They already won in extras on the road in Cleveland before they can do it again. Bethencourt in relief.
Because chaos.
Gets the win.
Okay. All right. I like that.
I mean, if we go to like an 18-inning game and position players got to start throwing, I would like the Rays in that situation. Like, they have the upper hand. So
I mean, Bettencourt used to be a pitcher. Like,
Yeah.
I think that he's coming in there throwing 90 plus. Like, I like our chance against anyone if we're at the point where we need position players to pitch.
All right, so we'll stop stalling and let you guys go watch the game. So yeah, go Rays.
Go Rays.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.